We're going live.
Talk Radio.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Women of Golf Show. I'm Ted Odorico, and joining me is LPGA professional Cindy Miller, and we are your hosts. We're broadcasting live every Tuesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern here on the blogtalkradio.com network, bringing you some of the best golfers, teaching professionals, and entrepreneurs helping to elevate women's golf. We're so glad you decided to join us this morning, so grab your coffee and let's get started.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf Show, and welcome back. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm Ted Odorico, and right alongside, of course, each and every week is none other than Legends Tour player and LPGA professional, and my friend, Cindy Miller. Good morning, Cindy.
We're friends?
Yeah, really. We got to call us.
How many
we
years
have to call us
been...
something. We're
yeah,
really.
We've been doing that?
We're in our 7th, and we're going into number 8 next season. So,
I don't believe that.
I guess we are. I'm telling you, I kid you not. You got to remember they're short season. It's not because we don't start until a little bit later, so it kind of throws you off. We don't start January. We start normally in February. Yeah, I know. Listen, I know you put up with me for this long, so it just it probably feels longer, doesn't it? That's what it is. It feels longer.
No, it
because
doesn't.
You've had to put
it
up
feels
with my.
Shorter.
Well,
it really
give it to
shorter.
Give it to the end of the show. It'll feel longer. Trust me. I'll make it feel longer. But anyways, we want to thank everybody. Welcome to the Women of Golf, and we've got a great show for you this morning. We're waiting for our first guest. Hopefully, she will make it, or we will muddle our way through the first half. But I'm talking about, of course, Symetra Tour player Janie Jackson. She joined us. Cindy, at the very beginning of this season, I don't know if you remember, but she was the first winner of the 2020 season. She won her first event, the 12th annual Florida's Natural Charity Classic, and she's from Huntsville, Alabama. And she's supposed to be joining us here first thing. And then a little bit later on, Susan Bond, a PGA professional, is also going to be joining us on the second half, and she was on a little bit earlier in the season as well. So, and coincidentally, she attended the University of Alabama. She was actually, or I didn't, intend. She was the women's captain, I think, of the women's golf team, if I'm not mistaken. So both have an affiliation with Alabama. And, of course, for those of you that follow college football, Alabama beat my favorite team, Auburn, in the Iron Bowl this past weekend. So I'm not too happy about that. So I don't know if I want to have these ladies on, to be honest, given that they're on the opposing side. What do you think? Or should I suck it up?
Be nice. Suck it up, Buttercup.
All right, so let's talk while we're waiting. Yeah, well, yeah, really, this is what happens when you take a week off. You kind of come back a little nuts. At least I do. So tell me a little bit about your Thanksgiving, Cindy. We were just starting to sort of get into that, and then we went live. So just tell us while we're waiting for Janie. And so how was Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was good. We had people over. Should I say that or no? But we're with these people all the time, so we're safe. Our son and his daughter, his wife, and their son and her and her parents came over, and I made my famous cheesecake, and Ellen made the turkey, and everything was good, and we pigged out, and I'm a fat slob, and I have to stop eating, but it was great. I like winter. I appear to be very extroverted, but I need my quiet time where I'm like, don't talk to me, anybody. I'm done. And I'm kind of there right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same too. It's nice. We're going to be taking a break just to kind of bring everybody up to speed with the show. We've got 2 more shows after today. Next Tuesday and the following Tuesday, and then we're not just going to, break off for Christmas. We end up taking the whole month of January off, and that's just so we can get things organized and lined up for next season, get some guests to start off. And we're actually already got the first 3 shows next year, beginning February 2nd, I believe is the date we start back. We've already got those first 3 shows already booked up, so we're excited about that, of course. And but yeah, I'm like you. I need the break too. It's kind of nice just to be able to just say, hey, don't talk to me, and don't say anything. Don't call me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. Believe it or not, and I know you probably won't believe this. I'm not. I won't say I'm an introvert. I was extremely, extremely shy when I was younger, and I always had a difficult time speaking and so on and so forth when I was really, really young. Of course, I'm talking about, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but it's like somebody turned on the faucet, and now you can't shut me up. But I still need that time for some reason. Same as you. I just I go, and then all of a sudden I just I lock myself in the house, and it's like, don't call me, don't talk to me, I don't want to hear from you, I don't care if somebody dies, let me know and I'll send flowers. I just don't want to be bothered. But then
wow,
it's kind of
really...
like all of this. Well, I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you get the point.
I do get the point. It's supposed to snow today, and I can't wait.
Well, I'm in Florida, and I tell you, it feels like it's going to snow. It's I think in the 40s right now. So it was 29 last night, which is unusual, especially this early in the season. But it is what it is, and you're sending some cool weather down for us. So I know we need a little bit of a break, and it's kind of nice, especially here in Florida. You get those hot summer days, and it can be unbearable sometimes. So it's kind of nice to get a little bit different happening. But so tell me, let's get an update. With everything going on, Cindy, we're still kind of in this pandemic mode and unsure of a lot of things. What's happening with your boot camps? Are you sort of, a sit and wait kind of thing? Because I know you've got some scheduled for the new year, and I know you had one scheduled, I believe, for November. Are you still able to move forward with them at this point, or is it sort of a wait and see?
We are on wait and see. We have canceled, needless to say, November and December, and probably will cancel January. But we've got kids waiting. Can we fly? Is there going to be a vaccine? What's going on to go to February? And we've got people that are planning to go March and April. So I hope to God this vaccine gets out and everything is good.
So I know we've talked about this, and I'll be praying for you, Cindy, that it does, and for everybody really, because it's gotten to the point now. I mean, people are climbing walls. We need to get out, and now they're, it's kind of coming round to, sort of closing things back down again, and in some cases, especially up in the Northeast and even the Northwest, and it's just. I don't know how much more people can take. So we need to get these vaccines out and get them in, get them administered and get on the other side of this. But how has the overall this season, as far as lessons and that sort of thing, and your engagement? Because as we've talked about a number of times on the show, Cindy, golf has really kind of gotten, and I've said this 1,000 times, a booster shot this season for some reason. I guess because of the pandemic, golf was one of those few sports or games that was able to, for the most part, carry on. Did you notice a big difference personally, or was it pretty much, you're, as you always say, spinning plates so much anyways. Did you notice a difference in your bookings this year, or was it pretty much the same?
We were way busier. Way busier. Like way busier. So golf is open. Golf lessons were way busier, but needless to say, travel was not. And what's funny is you just learn how to pivot. It's kind of like play it where it lies. What are you going to do from this situation? And, inspect the obstacles and the what do you got in front of you, and what are you going to do, and how are you going to hit the shot? And so I'm kind of nuts. We've got a huge virtual event we're doing today for a very big tech company in the Dome, virtually. A film crew drove up from New York City. These people are from all over the country. there's 50 people going to be on a virtual golf lesson today at 1 o'clock from the Golf Dome in Buffalo where it's snowing. So, I mean, think outside the box, right? And
right.
That being said, I've also created, I'm still spinning plates, but I'm spinning plates as an introvert. I've created my nonprofit pursueyourit.com or .org, and I got a grant from a school or from a place called Hope Buffalo, and I was supposed to deliver my program to underprivileged girls in certain zip codes in Buffalo. And so I was like, okay, how am I going to find these girls, right? And again, you can't tell me there's not a God. So here comes walking into my mat this woman and her friend. I go, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm the principal at this school. And I'm like, oh, what zip code is it in? It's the right zip code. And what does your buddy do? Oh, she's the school psychologist. Oh, this is like, welcome to my mat, right? So we just launched yesterday this Pursue Your It program, which I created an online course, all virtual, because kids are learning virtual, and we piloted it and launched it yesterday to 125 kids in every gym class in the middle school and the school. I'm like, oh, wow, there you go. I don't need to worry about 10. I got 125. So I'm doing different. I mean, I'm not getting paid to do that, but I'm doing good work, right? And these kids all take personality assessments and behavior assessments and learning style. How do I learn? Do I want to see it, feel it, or hear it? And I'm creating it for businesses. So I'm going to do it for profit and not profit, but I got this grant, so I had to do this. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, what's really good about that, though, Cindy, is even though you're doing it essentially for nothing, you're planting that seed in future generations. And what's going to ultimately happen, and certainly not everyone is going to do it, but it's going to take root with some of them, and they're going to say, oh, you know what, I want to look more into that. And so, sometimes doing things sort of pro bono, if you will, can be just as beneficial as if you were getting paid for it. I think we may have Janie on the line here, so let me just bring her on, and we'll continue our conversation.
Marvelous.
Good morning, and welcome to Women of Golf.
Good morning.
Good morning. This sounds like Janie.
How are you?
We're doing
very
doing welcome.
Great. How are you?
Can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
We can.
Okay, perfect.
Where are you?
I'm in Phoenix.
Phoenix. Oh! For what?
I live here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Are you going to the Open?
Yeah, she lives.
I am going to the Open.
And when are you going?
Next Sunday.
Wow, that would be a Christmas present, wouldn't it? Let's win the U.S. Open.
That sounds like a nice Christmas present.
Right. Why not? Have you played in one before?
Yes, I played in 2014 when it was at Pinehurst.
Nice. I played in 5.
It's a fun experience.
They're a little difficult. It is a fun experience.
They're very difficult.
Yeah, it's like they go, how can we make this so hard? It's impossible. And then you go,
why do they want to do that?
I don't know, but they love it. They sit back in the trees with their little devil ears. But guess what it teaches you? Suck it up, Buttercup. Get tougher.
That's right. Everybody's playing the same track.
That's right. And those who can't perform will die. And they will cart them off. Anyway, Ted, go ahead.
Funny.
So, once again, Janie, welcome to the show. And let me just quickly remind everybody, of course, Janie won the Florida Natural Charity Classic. I believe it was the first event of the season on the Symetra Tour. And she has finished, I believe, in 5th place for the Volvic Race for the Card. So congratulations on both.
Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, you're originally from Huntsville, Alabama. So you're an Alabama girl at heart. So you've got to be pretty happy. Of course, I'm not, but you've got to be pretty happy that Alabama won the Iron Bowl past weekend, because I'm an Auburn fan. So I just wanted to throw that out there to kind of set the tone. So if I get a little bit snarky with you in the first couple of minutes here, that's going to be why. I hold grudges when it comes to football. No, I'm just kidding. Congratulations. They played.
You had to know it was coming.
Yeah, we know the beatdown was coming, and actually I kept watching to wait for Auburn to show up, because I don't know what happened to them, but they didn't even show up this season. So, but congratulations to Alabama fans out there, and to you, Janie, as well. So, this has been a crazy season, obviously. We talked to you earlier in the year. You joined us in March, and you've been out there, battling it. There was some off period and back on again, and it's sort of been a crazy year. Tell us about your season. What have you had to do in order to adjust your game, and what did you do mentally to sort of keep yourself going throughout the season? Because it was definitely unusual for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really strange year, but the thing that I just kept trying to tell myself was that everybody was in the same situation. Everybody was going to be struggling mentally. It's something that, this type of situation is something that none of us have ever dealt with before. So it was new for all of us. And, we were all going to struggle with it. And the hardest part for me was just the unknown of everything. But, I did my best to just try and work hard during the off time, and just try to be as well prepared as I could be whenever we started back up again.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, really all you can do. I mean, as I said, I think you won if I'm not mistaken, I think you won the first event of the season, or certainly thereabouts, and then it was pretty much almost an instant shutdown the week after, or within a couple of weeks. And
right.
You guys were off for a while. Yeah, you were off for a while, and then I think it was sometime in the summer, if I'm not mistaken, they started back up again. And you only ended up playing, I believe, in all, you may not personally, but you played, I think, about 10 events this year out of a potential 20 or 21. So very short season. What did you do in your off time? I mean, obviously, Cindy and I were talking earlier, golf was very fortunate. We kind of have a built-in social distancing in golf. So a lot of courses were still open. People could still get out there and play or get out to the range. Did you take advantage of that downtime and get out and really work on your game, or did you just say, you know what, I'm going to use this opportunity to do some other things and give myself a little bit of break and then get back at it when I need to? What did you do?
So I was fortunate enough that my course here in Scottsdale, it stayed open the whole time. It never shut down. And with it being summer in Scottsdale, nobody was really here. So I went to the golf course almost every day, and I would grind it out for as long as I could until I got too hot, since it was about 115 every day. But I tried to take advantage of the off time and the empty facilities here. So, I practiced a lot. There wasn't much else I could do as far as, if I wasn't at the golf course, where was I going to go? Because a lot of places were closed and you weren't traveling and things like
right.
that. So I went to the course, almost every day, I'd say.
Wow, and that's good. I mean, you got to, if you want to play at the level that you're playing at, you've got to keep things going. You can't afford to, you can take a little bit of a break here and there, but for the most part, because you didn't know really what was going to happen. I mean, it was, decisions were still being made very early on. How long is this going to be? Is it going to be a few weeks? What events are going to be canceled? So you had to really kind of stay on your game. You couldn't afford to just sort of rest on your laurels and say, well, I'll just take a chance, because you're out there to win. You're not out there to just have a good time. You want to have fun, of course, but you're there to win. So you've got to keep your game sharp. And and it's good that you did that. Cindy, go ahead.
What are you most excited about for the Open?
I'm just excited for the experience and the opportunity to compete on that stage. To compete in a major, I feel like is something really, really special. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and now I'm going to try and remember that I have the game to be there, and that I think the last Open that I played in, I was 6 years younger than I am now, so probably didn't take the full experience in and try and play my best golf, just being so in awe of where I was. So I think this time around I'm definitely going to try and make the most of it, that's for sure.
Don't you believe what you just said? Don't pass over that too quickly, because that is such a big deal about the first time. Like, I remember the first U.S. Open I ever played in, it was in Philly, and the golf course was so long and so hard. And all I thought about is, oh, my God, I'm here. And I remember sitting at a table where Judy Rankin was getting – and she said, oh, this golf course is so long and so hard. And I'm like, oh, she thinks it is too, right? And I was like such a little punk and so new and like wide-eyed, and it takes a while to say, all right, that's enough. You belong. Shut up. Let's go play golf, right?
Right.
And it sounds like you're at that point now where I have earned the right to be here. Where's the first tee?
Yes.
What's the course record? And it takes a while to get over all that.
Definitely. So I think that's definitely the biggest thing I took away from the one a few years ago, and we'll take into this one, is just make the most of the experience.
Awesome. Ted?
So Janie, let me ask you, as I mentioned earlier, you finished ranked number 5th for the Volvo race for the card. What status will you have next year on the LPGA?
So with the 2020 being the sort of wraparound year, because of COVID, I think I'd probably only get in a few. If I had to guess, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of it probably depends on what happens here in the next few months with COVID. But what all that they really haven't told us that much, but they have told us that status isn't going to be as great this year as it normally is for the Symetra graduates. So we'll just have to see.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, when we had someone from the Symetra Tour on earlier in the season, I think, Cindy, if I recall correctly, that they were going to sort of freeze the status on both the Symetra and the LPGA Tour. So for folks that were in the top 10, let's say, their status was not going to change regardless of how they finished. So I guess that's probably what's playing into that decision or uncertainty, is there's obviously a lot of LPGA players that, again, are going to sort of get a priority. So do you know, obviously, again, I'm assuming you're going to have a look, if you haven't already, at what's going to be the 2021 schedule for the LPGA. Do you have in your mind what events you're most likely going to try to get into?
No, I mean, I'll put my name in all of them, and I guess I'll just watch the reserve list and kind of see how my name moves up or when it does. And I have no idea when it will be, and I have no clue what tournament it'll be. I'll just have to, put my name in and see what happens.
And you'll continue, I'm assuming, to play on the Symetra events whenever and wherever possible as well, correct?
Yes, I will.
Very good. So, moving forward, what do you? Obviously, you want to win tournaments, and What are some of your longer-term goals? Obviously, you want to play as long as possible, but what about at some point, is there something else that you envision yourself doing? Do you want to maybe convert into teaching the game at some point, or is there an area of business that you're thinking somewhere down the road that has caught your eye that you might like to do?
Not necessarily. I think right now, I'm 26 and I'm just now starting to kind of see things trend in the right direction with my golf game. So it's taking me, or it has taken me a little bit more time than maybe some girls, but so I think for me the biggest thing right now is I'm just trying to focus on where I am currently, just trying to be where my feet are, trying to better myself every day, and play competitive golf as best I can. So that's pretty much all I'm focusing on right now.
Well, I think that's a good way to look at it. It's always nice to have longer term goals, but I think right now you're enjoying, as you said, where your feet are. You want to continue to play competitive golf and see, how far you can take that and to what level you can aspire to. And then obviously you'll see what happens as time moves on. But Janie, we want to thank you for joining us this morning, and we want to wish you the best of luck at the U.S. Open. Go out and have fun, enjoy it, and try to put a W in the win column.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me.
Good luck, honey. Have fun. Trust it. You belong.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a good one. Bye-bye. All right, Janie Jackson, number 5th on the Volvic Race for the Card on the Symetra Tour, and winner of the 12th Annual Florida's Natural Charity Classic, heading to the U.S. Open. That's going to be exciting for her, I think. I know she's been there before, but as she said, she's going to be looking at it a little bit differently. Very quickly before we bring Susan on, how did you feel the next time, Cindy, that you went into a U.S. Open? Obviously, you told us a little bit about what your thoughts were in the first go-around, but when you started getting to the second and third, were you much more comfortable at that point, or were you still kind of, knees knocking and all that kind of stuff?
You're always having your knees knocked. I remember the one in Nashville. I had a gun to my head, and I needed to make a certain amount of money to keep my card, or I was going to lose my card. And it was 100 degrees in Nashville and humid, and I thought I was going to die. And I made the cut, and I made $1,000. That's the best I ever played in the U.S. Open. So I'm always better when there's a gun to my head because I'm pursuing instead of protecting. And that's a huge, big deal. So, but again, I believe that what Janie just said is huge. There's hope, and then there's, encouragement, and then there's more hope, and then there's encouragement, and then there's, disappointments, and then there's belief. And I think she's at belief. And as she just said, I'm 26 now, and the first U.S. Open was a long time ago. Again, she believes she belongs now, which is what needs to happen, which is great.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, it's for somebody, she said she's, 26 now, so she's still very, very young, and she wants to get out there and tackle her profession. And she's got a lot of years left to do that, and she's going to take it one day at a time. And this year, she said it was a little bit, for lack of better words, wonky for everybody. So it wasn't just her. It was everybody that really went through the same experience playing. So she's not at any more of a disadvantage. But really, I think where it differs from player to player is not so much the physical game, but the mental game, because everybody handles stress differently. So for some players, it was probably not a big deal, but for other players, that anxiety level ramps up, and, the longer you're away from something that you want to do, the harder it is to sort of get back in and going. So for her, she did the right thing. She kept practicing. She kept her mind sharp. She kept her game sharp because she didn't know when the next tournament was going to be. And I think that was smart on her part. All right, our next guest, Susan Bond, of course, has been with us before. She's a 30-year member of the PGA of America, and she's also a PGA member relationship manager for the PGA Magazine. And she was also a sales rep for Straight Down. We talked a little bit about that. We'll see if she's still doing that now, or what's on the agenda for the rest of this season for her. So let's welcome back our very special guest, Susan Bond.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing great. Where are you?
I am in Newburgh, Indiana. Why wouldn't I be, right?
Really?
And it's very cold. My husband's Ron Philo Jr., and he is the general manager here at Victoria National. So we moved out here.
Oh, he is?
He is. Victoria's part of the Dormy Network.
It is. It's one of the hardest golf courses I've ever played.
It is. I'm like, if I can play here, I can play anywhere. It is very challenging. It is fantastic golf, and invite you both out to come out and play in 2021. Love to have you out here.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, that sounds like, I think that sounds like a plan. Hopefully we'll be able to take you up on that, but who knows with everything going on what the future holds. But thank you for the invitation. I want to ask a question, if I may. Cindy, I'm going to barge in here, so I apologize.
Go for it.
One of the things I know, one of the things, Susan, that I know, like you're going to be able to stop me, right?
Right.
But one of the things, Susan, that when I was reading through some of the stuff in your bio, you've done some work in the past and probably still do with Special Olympics, and obviously with veterans giving instruction. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, those are my favorite clinics to do. Bob Beach, who's up in the New England section where we hailed from, if Bob asked me to attend an event and assist him, I would be there in a second. It was just such a rewarding time to be with the Special Olympic athletes, and he was also very connected with the Folds of Honor and the veterans in the New England area. And, I wanted to sound like such a cliche, but we saved so many people from doing harm to themselves because they would always look forward to the Tuesdays at 10 o'clock and just being out and sharing their day with people. It was so inspiring, and again, they gave their lives to protect us. It was an honor to give them golf instruction. It was just a great time, and Bob Beach is just incredible.
I couldn't agree more, and we obviously want to thank all of those that have given their service. Let me ask you a follow-up on that. What would you say, because there's a lot of a lot of men and women who have served and unfortunately have come back with some disadvantages, and maybe at one time they played golf, but now they're kind of thinking, well, my golf's over. I've lost a limb or what have you, or I'm suffering from PTSD right now, and it's just not in the forte. What would the message that you would like to convey for those that may be listening? Because I know there's a lot of them out there who played a lot of golf, years before. They went out, they served their country, they've become wounded or injured, and figure, that's just it. Everything's, by the wayside. What would you say to encourage them to get back to something that they obviously enjoyed at one time?
Well, again, I think so much of that is being with other people and doing, I can say that it's just in my world that my game is not as sharp as it used to be, but I still enjoy to play it. And I, work on my short game to make up for the lack of distance. So if they have a disability now, they can still, get out there, and maybe it's just chip and putting, and doing that, but they're still out there with their friends, and it's all about the camaraderie.
Yeah, I agree. Now, as far as instruction, were there some things that you had to, obviously there's some obvious ones, but did you have to do anything differently teaching those with disabilities? Was there some specialized instruction that you received to help in that transition? Or were you basically the knowledge that you had gained over your 30 or so years as a PGA member, was that enough?
We can always learn. You know, Judy Alvarez is wonderful with instructing golf professionals on different techniques to work with adaptation. And I just, again, I think it comes to common sense. You know, you can have them grip the club whatever way it works for them. It might not be conventional, and it probably isn't. But as long as they make contact with the golf ball and encouraged by that, there's encouragement in succeeding and taking it to the level that they would like. You know, there's so many you know, bigger grips, you know, lighter clubs, longer clubs if they happen to be in a, you know, a wheelchair. There's the adaptive golf carts now. There was a gentleman that I had in New England, Marty. He had the single rider golf cart that allowed him to stand up when he hit the ball, and that, he said, he loved it for the golf, but it assisted with his breathing. So again, it was a benefit for that standpoint, while he also was getting back out on the golf course.
Right, and I think more so than the game, you said it very eloquently before, is just the camaraderie, just being out there with your friends and even your comrades, if you will, doing something that you enjoy and have enjoyed for many years, just getting out there and mingling with others and just, you know, living your life. I mean, it's so many of them come back and you know, I don't have to tell you this, you know, from your experiences, that so many of them come back very, you know, down and many even worse cases than that. That's putting it lightly, obviously, but and they just don't know what to do with themselves. So I think this is a great opportunity. And I want to ask one more question, then Cindy, I promise I'm going to bounce it back to you. There is a young lady we've had on our show. Her name is Gianna Rojas, and she is referred. I'm sure you know of her. She is referred to as the left-handed lady golfer, and she's done a lot, not just for veterans, but for everyone that you know, has you know, disabilities and so forth. She's been somewhat of a spokesperson for adaptive golfers. And she said something really interesting on one of the shows, and she talked about a study that was done at Clemson University where they estimated somewhere in around 20, if my memory serves me correct, around 20 million in the United States alone that are affected some way or the other with some form of disability. Is there an opportunity, and are not being, and sorry, let me back up. The point I'm getting to is that they're really not being addressed by the golf industry as much as they should. What do you think, or is there anything that you think the golf industry, because that's a big pool of people that potentially could play golf with some adjustments and so on and modifications. What do you think the golf industry could do as a whole to go after that demographic?
Well, again, I think it's been a great start by Gianna and Judy Alvarez and the late Ken June down in Florida. He kind of broke down the barriers. I've worked with all, Gianna's attended my golf meetings at the PGA show. I've met all three, Judy's, and, you know, they just took the afraid of, are they fragile? They just treated the students or the veterans as people. They just got to know them. They created relationships, and it was wonderful. Ken June was amazing with what he did in North Florida. And again, it's all about just making people feel comfortable and show that you care. And, the rest kind of, you learn from each other.
Right, exactly. And I think sometimes, just the invitation alone means the world to so many of these men and women. just the fact of saying, hey, why don't you come on out and attend this event or be part of this event to whatever capacity or level that they choose, but at least the fact that they want to be invited. And that was really the point that Gianna talked about on the show, was that she referenced a story about a young girl around 9 or so years old that had reached out to her who had the same affliction that Gianna had, and said, you were an inspiration. She said, I've, kind of liked golf. I think her parents or somebody in her family had played golf, but, she had not really grappled to it because she didn't think she could. And now all of a sudden, on the Golf Channel and so on, she sees these videos of Gianna doing something that she was interested in doing. So again, I think it goes back to let's open the invitation and invite them first, and then see where they want to take it from there. Cindy, go ahead.
Exactly.
Sorry, I had muted myself. I think that's absolutely awesome. And thank you for doing that. I would like to change the subject. What are you doing in Indiana? Are you teaching there? Are you doing other schools? Are you going to Florida for the winter? Where can people find you? Because you're amazing.
Thank you. I do. I have given a few golf schools here at Victoria National, and we were, Ron and I were actually set to leave on Saturday to take some of the members here to one of the sister clubs, Briggs Ranch, down in San Antonio, to do to just have a great time playing with members and prospective members. But unfortunately, he tested positive for COVID yesterday. So that has been, I know, and I have to go after this call and be tested. But I play with the members here, play with both men and women, but it's just a great experience here. And then I am going to be going to Florida occasionally in the wintertime to give some instruction to former members that I had that were at Johns Island. So I'm just kind of figuring things out for this coming winter due to everything with travel and restrictions and so forth. But hopefully in 2021, getting out there and doing more clinics to grow the game for men, women, children, and everyone, and doing it at here at Victoria, or also at the other Dormy network clubs. There's 6 in the entire network.
Awesome.
And I still try to play also. I try.
Yeah. So it's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, so many cancellations this year, but we're very excited. We are in the final stages of putting a Pro-Am together, PGA Magazine Women Leaders platform, which is my main role, at French Lick, in conjunction with the Senior Women's Championship.
Oh my goodness!
I know it would. It is. It's very exciting. It would be.
Keep me on the list.
Yeah, again, you were on the top of the list. We're just, it's right up the road, hypothetically, 2 hours up from here, but it's a beautiful facility. So we're excited.
And another one where you can play golf with clenched butt cheeks for 18 holes.
Well, I have yet, but that's what Jane Blaylock said, Maggie Will, they all were like, wow, great golf and great, it's an area of the world that's making a mark in golf.
Yeah, and the people there are amazing.
Yes, it's we have a little bit of frost. You're still in upstate New York, correct?
I am. We're getting some snow today.
We had flurries yesterday. So golf is on the back burner right at the moment. But it was beautiful up until like Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day it was 65 here, but the past few days the temperature has plummeted. So that's why I'm looking to do some things in Florida this winter.
How long have you been at Victoria National?
Ron, I came out like a year ago. Prior to this, Ron was the director of golf at Sawgrass Country Club, and he came out here a year ago, September. And then we had to get the house on the market and everything, and I came out about a year ago.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
You know, it's a change. The Midwest, we're East Coast people. It's rather different out here in the Midwest, and it's cold. That was the shock. Not that I didn't think it would be chilly, but they did a thing on the Today Show this morning. It's warmer in Boston than it is here today. So go figure.
Really?
Yes. It's going to be like 60 in Boston, and the high here is going to be like 35.
Well, tomorrow in Boston, it's going to be yucky.
It's heading that way?
Whatever you have, oh, yeah, it always goes that way, from west to east. So whatever you have, I get next.
Got it. Well, get the wood in the fireplace ready.
It is today. We're supposed to get, there's places that could get 18 inches of snow today, so.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
But you're doing wonderful things with golf also. You're a great speaker. I see your posts on social media. So kudos to all that you do for growing the game of golf.
Well, thank you. I'm a little bit of a nutbag, but I'm having fun.
That's the main thing. You have to have fun. It has to be fun for everyone, and whatever little piece everyone takes away with them, it's well worth the journey wherever they travel to learn that. So it's
Absolutely.
It's all fun.
Let me ask you this. Is the PGA tournament in January for the women still going to happen?
The one down in Port St. Lucie?
Yes.
As of right, I received an email about 10 days ago. And yes, as of that, everything is a go. And I believe they do a winter series right now, or it's the fall, whatever the series is, and it's sold out right now. And I hear that the events that start, I believe, around the 8th of January are already getting subscribed, because I think people still want to get warm, follow the protocols and such. But, there's no PGA show per se this year in person, so they still want to get to the warmer climates, and it's a great opportunity to play some great golf courses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm contemplating, should I hit balls or forget it?
No, because I'm working, because when this letter also shared that for the top 8 women who finish in the women's championship, they get exempted into the KPMG in 2021. So I pushed the envelope a little further, and I said, would they look at creating a senior division so that, again, an X amount of women senior professionals could get exempted into the senior LPGA championship. They sometimes forget about us back 9 players. And I don't know when the LPGA Teaching and Club Professionals Championship is in 2021. But I thought that if they're giving the junior players, if you will, a chance, they should look into also the senior players, because we've supported.
And are they?
I don't know. They just with the new president of the PGA of America, he creates new committees. So they were being created as we speak. I think everybody was getting their assignment as of December 1st, which is today. So then they'll have committee meetings, and they shared that in the tournament committee meeting, my letter of that question was going to be discussed. So
Perfect.
Hopefully I had
Thank you.
I rallied, Cindy CJ, Cammie, Wendy Modick, all the women that I know were all of the same age that would love to play. And we have so many limited events to play in that, having this would be great for us. Not that we can't compete with the juniors, but, I think it would also boost the field at Port St. Lucie in January, or I think our event is the last one, the middle of February. So it would increase the participation in that event, because I know years ago, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, the tournament was very poorly represented just due to the time of year, people not coming down from the north. And so, but since they've added spots for the KPMG, the fields have increased again.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a good thing.
Incentive.
So,
okay, Ted, we'll stop. You can talk.
No, I was actually enjoying the conversation. It's very, very interesting, and I think I agree. Sue, with what you're saying. You have to remember those on the back nine, and I think the senior women have, really paved a way for so many of these young and up and coming golfers that I think it's only natural that you have a spot for them as well. And I agree. I think it's very honorable of you to really push for that. You talked a few minutes ago about the PGA magazine, particularly the Women Leaders platform. Tell us about what is involved there. What do you do with the PGA magazine?
First, I am not a writer. Everybody goes, "Oh, you're a writer?" I'm like, no. Besides the monthly magazine, we do, pre-COVID, we do over 150 in-person events through our different platforms with PGA Magazine. We have club fitting conferences, Teacher of the Year conferences, Professional of the Year, sell-through boot camps, and I am the manager of the Women Leaders platform, which Rick Summers, the CEO, owner of PGA Magazine, and I sat down and said, let's do this the fall of 2015, and our first meeting was at the PGA show in 2016. And at that meeting, we gathered together a little over 70 women PGA professionals, some LPGA professionals, and a few male PGA members. And to date, as of this morning, I now have women PGA professionals 531, and that's little less than half. There's 1,086 women PGA professionals in the country. And so it's been a great going on 5 years of meeting, connecting back with women that I've known probably since junior golf and college days, and seeing how they have made a name for themselves or become leaders in the PGA through what type of classification they are. That, years ago when I was a kid around the golf course, women were just assistants, but now they're directors of instruction, they're general managers, they're golf course owners. It's been very cool. And yesterday, actually, we had a call. I've created a 41 leaders group. There are 41 PGA sections. There's a chosen woman leader in each of those sections. And we had a call last evening with, you're going to laugh, hopefully, is that we had a call with the front 9 women. We had women that have just gotten their PGA membership. And to say that their eyes were open, we were on a Zoom call so we could see their reaction when all of the women that attended the call shared what they have done in their golf careers. So we created a great mentorship relationship that will help these young ladies and have them learn what can grow the game in their local area. So it's very cool. We have the support of the PGA of America, and it's a great avenue to see the future women of the PGA and nurture them along.
I think that's fantastic, and I think the more that type of mentoring programs that can be implemented and helping this next generation not only get into the game, but take it to whatever level they choose, I think is so important. And this brings me to a final question that I have, and it's something, that you referenced earlier about Cindy, in social media and being out there. And I know that you obviously know a lot about this as well. But a lot of professionals out there, male or female, are great teaching professionals, great coaches, however you want to label them. But when it comes to sort of personal branding and social media, not so much. Some of them just don't. What advice would you give? And you can pick either one or as a general, whatever you want to do. But what would you suggest if they want to really get their message, whether it be about their golf school? I mean, some put up a website, and that's great, but they don't do a very good job of really promoting themselves. What advice would you give to the many professionals out there that maybe could use a helping hand, if you will, in getting that word out there?
I think the easiest way is to go to the websites that they probably follow. I don't want to speak for Cindy, but again, copying is the highest form of flattery. So if you reached out to Cindy and they just, get the bullet points of how you've become so successful, they can take the ball and run with it and create it in their own mind. I think they just need a basic template and go out there because, you're going to make some fumbles, if you will. But if you get the point across and you get the hang of it, you'll be successful in that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice because, there's a lot. I mean, not all of them are great salesmen. Not all of them are great marketing gurus, if you will, but they're great at their craft. They're great at what they do, and that is to teach the game and to help grow the game. But I think you're right. I think a lot of them could learn from somebody like a Cindy Miller and others that have done very well at both. They're both teachers, both players, and very high at levels of their game. But they also know how to market themselves in such a way that they get that message that they want out there. And Cindy, as she always jokes, says she spins so many plates, but she spins them very well, and breaks very few of them. So and breaks very few of them. So Cindy, I'll let you have the final word.
Susan, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being our guest. We're thrilled that you're here. And keep me on the list for the French Lick event. I want to bring a Pro-Am team because I love the place. I love the people. It's just magical. You have to go play it. And if I get there, I will maybe drive down to Victoria National and take you up on that invitation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to have both of you here, experience the facility again, the golf and the dining and the lodging. And again, Cindy, you inspire so many people. You are, that person that everyone should reach out to and how to be the best golf professional that they can be.
Well, thank you.
Happy holidays. It's December 1st.
Yeah.
I can start with
Happy holidays. Thank you very much, Susan, and we'll look forward to having you come back and joining us in the new year at some point as well. But have a great holiday and stay warm. And thank you very much for being our special guest this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Cindy.
Bye-bye.
All right, PGA Professional Susan Bond joining us this morning. Great lady. And, well, when is the French Lick event? When is that in the year? Do you know offhand?
I think it's in July next year.
Okay. We'll have to pencil some time away and take her up on her offer. I think that would be fun. And we've talked about going to French Lick, and I think that would be a lot of fun. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this morning. And got a little bit of a late, crazy start, but hey, what the heck? It's the holidays. It's December 1st. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. On behalf of Cindy, on behalf of Women of Golf, I'm Ted Odorico. She's Cindy Miller. My tongue is tied, and I'm getting the heck off the air before I say something even worse. Thanks, everybody. God bless. We'll see you next week here on the Women of Golf. Thanks, Cindy.
Bye, Ted.
Thanks for listening this morning to the Women of Golf Show. Tune in live each week by visiting blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf or on any of these social media platforms: iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, CastBox, TalkStream Live, and of course Spotify. If you can't join us live, check out our on-demand section for previously aired broadcasts. To get updates for future shows and upcoming guests, you can follow us on Facebook at Women of Golf. You can also follow me on Twitter at TedandBuckCEO and Cindy at Cindy Miller Golf. Please remember to join us next week on the Women of Golf Show. See you next time. This has been a production of the iGolf Sports Network.